Hi guys, I think we are live. Looks
It says
live.
we are.
Yep. Hi Nick, how you going?
Very well, yeah, lovely to be here. How are you?
Good, thank you. So yeah, I just I'm stoked to have you here on my little channel. And yeah, I was really like a couple of weeks ago when you came into my live and you mentioned on it that you'd like to come on and have a chat. I was like, what? Okay. So yeah, I was pleased with that, and especially since the last few weeks I've got up to some shenanigans online. So I was like, I haven't scared him away. He's still here.
No, you're a real person like the rest of us. No, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here. I mean, since I started YouTube ages ago, a big part of the joy of it for me is chatting with people. I'm probably chatted with 50, 60, 70 different YouTubers. And it's just about people that you can identify with. And I got to know you through Rod, obviously. Rod and I have become quite close.
Yep.
And you just know when somebody's your sort of person. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, no, I really appreciate it. And, you know, I know that you're busy and you do this full time. So I know that your time is important. So, you know, I am really grateful that you're here and you've given up some of that time to spend with me. So, yeah, thanks.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Before we get on, I just said to you, didn't I? Tom is in. I think it's Tom Curry. Now, Tom, it's arrived. I'm going to open it on the Sunday just to let you know it's got here safely, okay? He'll know what it is. He sent me a little gift. So, yeah, thanks, Tom. Tune in on Sunday and we'll open it up live.
Do you get sent lots of gifts, Nick?
We've had a few, yeah. It's so humbling. It is. And since I've shared that I've got back into collecting music, I've been sent Depeche Mode records and Erasure records, and it never fails to amaze me. Yeah.
People are very generous in this community, don't you think? Like they're very giving and willing to share, and yeah, I think that's nice.
Yeah, I didn't know how to take it initially when people started super chatting or sending us stuff in the post. But then I realized that people, because I've done similar things to people, sent people stuff because you want to show your gratitude for the entertainment, for the advice, whatever it is that people get out of our, videos and channels. So I accept it with a smile now and enjoy it,
I think it's nice to be able to, send something or purchase something from somebody's store that's, done a lot for you. That shows, that's just another way of showing support, isn't it? By, either purchasing from them or, sending something. I had somebody ask me for my address the other day to send me something, and I was a bit like, are you for real? Like that's really odd, is it? So whether or not that happens or not, I don't know. And beautiful Lainey, she sent me some like PayPal money so that I could buy a UK TV series that you guys get over there that we don't get here, which was called. It was called something the midwife.
Call the midwife.
Call the midwife, and we don't get it here, and so she kind of PayPal'd me some money so that I could buy the first season on YouTube. And now I'm obsessed with this Call the Midwife. So,
have you only seen series 1 then?
I'm on series 2 now. I'm about halfway through. So I'm addicted now. I put it on while I'm listing, and I just really, I can just have it there in the corner while I've got the listing or the editing going, and it's something different to YouTube, I guess, to listen to. And it's
a great series. My wife and daughter watch that. They're hooked on that completely.
Yeah, and each episode's like an hour. So if I put it on, I know I'm going to sit here for an hour and get a solid hour of work. So I think that's that's really good. I might just say hello to some of these people because I'm not very good with the chat, and I don't want to look like I'm ignoring anyone. But Drew's in, and Megan, and Gimbal. I'm not sure. Is that a UK person? Gimbal? I'm not sure I know Gimbal.
I've seen the name in chats. I'm not sure where they're from, I'll be honest.
Brad's popping in. Tom, Liz, Jazz is here. Joni, a couple of pickers. Rebecca and Tim and Fat Girl Sewing. I don't know your name. Tommy's here. Sherry, Bunny Fufu, Marie, Sam, Reselling Polly, Patty. Oh, too many. Joan, Rebecca, Andrew's here. Cat peddler, that's Derek, isn't it?
Yes, he's
I get it
just
right?
said, Derek has just said, hi, Mel, Nick, and chat. Keep Nick talking whilst I win the challenge, because that's Derek who I'm in this listing challenge with. And I picked the worst week I could have done. Monday was a write-off because we were trying to edit the video, and then we decided to take all of the talking, all of the voices out, so eBay couldn't get it taken down under privacy laws or stuff.
Yep.
So and then that added another like 2 or 3, 4 hours of manually putting it all in and then re-editing it all. So that kind of just wiped out Monday. It's been totally worth it to get that video out and share what happened.
Yeah.
And then, it's just been crazy. And then I realized we're going away from lunchtime on Friday. I've only got half a day on Friday, and that'll be taking up shipping because eBay's doing quite well for us at the minute, touch wood. So I've kind of got today and tomorrow. So Derek, you might have this on a plate.
So how many are you aiming for with this challenge with Derek?
I don't have an aim, just to actually keep me focused, because I'm the worst procrastinator, and I can do 101 other things than list. So it's just really a fun thing, like when I did it with Rod, really.
Yeah.
But sadly, I haven't had the time to actually get my head down. But I'll be on it tomorrow, Derek. So keep listing, because I'm coming for you still.
And so, how many normally?
Sorry, say again?
How many do you normally list a week?
Oh, it varies wildly, from next to nothing to up in the hundreds. Yep. It depends what I'm listing, how focused I am on it, what else is going on. But can I quickly share a cool thing that I found today and listed earlier?
Yep. I love my pony. Okay. Yeah. It's like a door sign, is it?
Yeah, I think, well, it's solid brass. I think it's got some age to it. So I'm assuming it's like to go on a stable or just on a door to a stable block, or I don't know. It's just really cool.
Or a gate or something to a farm, or
exactly.
So how did you know how much to list that for?
I didn't have a clue. I paid £1.50. So I thought, well, it's solid brass. It's a chunky, well-made thing, so that my money's safe. I went on eBay and there's nothing like it, so I just went £20.
Okay.
See what happens.
See what happens, and just if you get an offer, you get an offer, or you might get full price. Maybe you'll sell it really quick, and you'll go, I underpriced that thing.
Well, it's been on a couple of hours and it hasn't sold, but I have got offers on it, and I'll probably take anything 15 and above.
Yep.
See what happens, right?
Quick flip's a good flip, if you ask me.
Yep.
So I guess I can see that most of the people in this chat probably already know you, and they know, your story and stuff, because you've been on YouTube a long time, haven't you? Like, you've been reselling a long time?
Far too long. What do you want to know? When I started reselling?
Yeah, how did you, I know that you had like a gaming shop and everything, and after you left all the, the trials, I guess, of running a shop and having employees and all that kind of stuff, that you then decided to go into full-time reselling. But I think you were reselling before that, weren't you? Yeah,
we were. Well, it goes right back to, I met my wife when I was working for Virgin Records. We worked in a record shop. And very soon I got itchy feet. I've never stayed in a job very long because I didn't know it then, but I was kind of born to do my own thing. Yep. So anyway, I left Virgin Records very soon to set up my own record shop. I kind of saw how it worked, loved it, and thought, I'm going to do this for myself. So that's when it started. That was 98. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have enough money behind me, and it wasn't making money. So I quickly folded that. And then I experimented with different business ideas for a while. And then when Andrea fell pregnant with our daughter, which was in 2001, I thought, I better stop messing around with all these crazy ideas and get a real job. And as a knee-jerk reaction, I joined the police force.
Right.
And I lasted quite a long time. About a year I was in the police force. Until I realized that I was going insane and I had to get out and do my own thing. But I discovered eBay about 98, and I'd built up a hobby business kind of in the background. And we had built that up to a point where we both thought we could earn a living. And I had to leave the police force because I was getting so stressed.
Yep.
I was I used to visualize it as I was a round peg in a square hole. I didn't fit in. I hated the hierarchy. It wasn't me. And so reselling was my way out. We took a huge gamble. Andrea, my wife, was working for Amazon and she hated it. She had a huge commute back and forth to work. She wasn't enjoying what she was doing. So she took maternity leave with the thought of never going back. And I walked out on my job.
Wow. So you just really, so did you were you like financially in that position to do that, or you just took the punt?
Not really. We have always been careful with money. So we weren't in debt, and we had a little bit of money behind us, but it was, friends and family thought we were mad, put it that way.
Do they still think you're mad?
No.
Yeah.
It's been long enough that they can see it's not a flash in the pan, and we've been successful enough for them to go, okay, fair enough, you know. But I think rightfully so, they were worried that I was chucking in a perfectly good career with great prospects. It was a job for life. Likewise, Andrea was in a business, you know, she could have had a job for life at Amazon. And even back then it was clear they were going to be huge. So people did think, why? You're set up for life, both of you. But if you're not happy, you're not happy, right? And
no. What did she do at Amazon? Like, was she kind of admin, or?
Andrea was at that point a book buyer. So she would deal with the book reps and the book companies and order in stock.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So she would have got a pretty good understanding of even how that reselling platform was going to work. And you obviously you did a little bit of eBay anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Andrea saw that much of the kind of reselling side of it. It was all very corporate and big numbers, and so far beyond what we could imagine our own business ever being, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly I found eBay as a hobbyist, like I say, as a collector, and quickly realized there was money to be made, and then managed to turn my hobby into my career. And escaped the rat race. That's my story, really. It was a case of I needed a way out, and reselling offered me that.
And do you think that, like, you will do this now forever? Like, do you have any backup plan if it goes wrong, or?
We've never planned, and we've never looked forward. We let it take us where it is. I've said this many times, actually. If something better came along that I was drawn to and I was passionate about and I wanted to do it, I'd drop it I'd just leave. I'm not tied to it. I love what I do, but I think if there was something else that gave me the same pleasure, that gave me the same sense of accomplishment and control is a big word for me. I need to feel in control of my life. If something else came along that would offer me all of that, I'd go for it. So I don't know what I'll be doing in another year, 5 years, or who knows.
I think I heard back a long time ago in one of your chats that you actually would love to like get like a caravan kind of motorhome and travel around and do markets and stuff. Is that still something that you like the idea of?
We played with the idea, or toyed with the idea, a year or so back about traveling and reselling on the road. My daughter now has decided she's not going to university, so that's kind of put a break on any plans of renting a place and funding traveling or doing that sort of thing. So that's not happening in the short term. No.
Yep. I think your daughter's the same age as mine, because I think you said Andrea was 2001. Yeah, so my daughter was born 2001 as well.
Yeah, Ellen's 18, and she's decided that university's not for her. It maybe not forever, but she's actually trying to get a job at Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. Maybe does she want to dress up like Snow White or something really pretty like a princess?
I think the dream job would be to one of the meet and greet princesses.
Yep.
Seriously, but she's a wonderful dancer. Dancing is one of her passions. So, and they employ hundreds of dancers, for the processions and the shows. So they do auditions in London for that. So she's gearing up to go and audition.
Yeah, wow, that'd be so fun. That would be such a fun job to say you've done while you're young. Like go out there and do the fun jobs now.
Exactly. And who knows, there may be a career in that for life. I mean, she loves the park, she loves Disney, she loves dancing. If she could get into choreography, which is a huge passion of hers, you know, you just have to follow your passion. And if I could go back, I would follow my passion so much earlier. I got caught in the whole work out what you want to be and follow a career path and and it's utter crap, because nobody knows at that age what they want to be. They haven't got any life experience. So you just have to follow what gets you excited and what floats your boat and hope it works out.
And I think you need to be a little bit of a creative kind of person to do this kind of work. And she sounds like she might be a bit of a creative personality as well, if she wants to go off and do dancing and dress up at Disneyland. And, you know, like the corporate world doesn't sound like it's probably for her either.
No, she's definitely a creative. Dancing and art is Ellen. And we've tried to steer her towards doing something in social media and perhaps trying to sell her art or her photography and stuff, just to see if she enjoys it. But I think she's a bit shy about that side of everything. So maybe in time, we'll see.
Yep. As she gets older, her confidence will grow. And so when now with like eBay, like how do you financially kind of prepare, I guess, for slow times? Like when eBay eBay's so like a roller coaster. Like is there a way that you prepare for those slow times, or you just kind of ride the wave and when they come it happens and you eat beans on toast? Or
we keep enough in reserve so we don't worry about money. But there's nothing that you can do to predict the ups and downs of eBay. And I've said many times, it's not for the faint-hearted. And the one thing, if you come from a regular job and you're used to that salary, that'll be the first thing you miss, because you don't know that's coming. And you become very painfully aware that you don't know that's coming. It all comes down to how hard you can work. And even then, you've still got to rely on the sales. So none of that side of it's easy. But we've done it long enough that we don't worry about it anymore. But we've been doing it nearly 20 years now. So I'm not saying that comes easy, because it doesn't.
Yeah. And do you regularly, do you buy stock every week, or do you sometimes stockpile and so you have weeks where you're not spending any money on any stock, but then there's other weeks where you're spending much more than a regular week?
Yeah. If those that have followed the channel will probably find that quite a funny question, because I have so much stock even now, and I've barely been buying for the last 6 months. And I still have a loft full. And there's still plenty in here, although it's looking quite sparse in here right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look full.
Yeah, but we're opportunists, and we buy big when the opportunity comes. I've just actually bought another big haul of stock, which will be arriving next week. I won't share what it is, because I'm going to make a video. It will surprise people. So yeah, I'm not scared of going big when the deal is right. I mean, I buy stock by the van full if the opportunity is there. And that's when we make the really good money. Or the car parts that you can see here. If you've got the nerve to put the money up and to not be scared of dealing with 5,000 car parts, for example, you can set yourself up to make a lot of money. But you have to also have the space and be able to cope with, where do you put it all? How do you deal with 5,000 individual items and all of that stuff? And I'm not very organized, so it's just chaos.
I think sometimes as well, working in a space where you're surrounded by that much stock can also, send some people's anxiety through the roof, and feeling all that stock there can be a bit stressful. So, not only is buying 5,000 items, but you've got to have that mental capacity of whether or not you can handle it in your surroundings for a long period of time, maybe.
I think you have to love that side of it. And my dad has hoarder tendencies. I won't just say he's a hoarder. He has some tendencies. His dad, my granddad, who's not with us anymore, definitely was a hoarder. I've managed to somehow turn that gene into a profitable business, but I enjoy stuff. It does get overwhelming, and definitely when we picked up big hauls, you sometimes look around the house and you think, this is nuts. How am I ever going to cope with this?
Yeah.
But I enjoy stuff. I enjoy buying stuff. I enjoy having stuff. And if you don't, I think this line of work would be very stressful.
Yeah. I think, yeah, definitely. So what do you think the biggest lesson that you've learned is in reselling?
The biggest lesson I've learned about
Reselling,
reselling?
yeah, over like 20 years or whatever it is.
To enjoy the ride. Because that's the fun part. Enjoy the little things, enjoy the detail. Because if you can manage to enjoy sourcing, which most of us do anyway, that's great. Try and find the pleasure in listing. Obviously, we enjoy selling the stuff, but really, and appreciate how good you have it. If you are doing this full time, appreciate the things you've got, the freedoms it gives you, because we forget so quickly how good we have it. It can be tough, it can be lonely, all these things. So enjoy the ride and appreciate what you have, because it's too easy to forget. And I forget sometimes how good I have things. So I think that would be it, to count your blessings, I think.
Yeah, just comes back to gratitude, doesn't it? And just being thankful. And
yeah,
sometimes it can be hard if you're in a bit of a negative headspace, or if sales are low and you're feeling a bit down about it. But yeah, you do have to mentally kind of turn yourself around into bringing back that gratitude and feeling thankful for, all the pros.
And that's the thing. I mean, people may assume I've got this down and I know what I'm doing and it's easy. It's not. I have days, I have weeks where I really struggle. And so I'm not saying it's easy at all, even after 20 years of being self-employed and doing this or versions of this. Yeah, I still have times where I doubt what I'm doing, but then you can snap out of it and come out the other side and you're happy with it again and grateful again. But yeah, it's a constant battle of reminding yourself why you do this or why I do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think also somebody on my Instagram the other day, they were talking about, smaller sales, like cheaper sales. I guess they're not all the big sales when you're selling full time. And they were kind of saying when the sales are down as well, it's kind of nice to get those smaller sales, because you're still getting a sale. Like, it's still a parcel to pack up, and it's almost like a mentality of like, things are slow and things are quiet, but here's a parcel and I'm sending it out, even if it's not worth very much. And
yeah,
it's such a mind game sometimes, isn't it, when you're reselling?
We, through our various businesses, will have sold tens and tens of thousands of items, but you have a 0 sales day and you think you can't resell. You think you forgot, you'll never sell another, that weird panic comes over you. And it's like, you instantly forget the thousands and thousands of things you sold. And it's like, I didn't sell anything all day yesterday. That's it. I'm doomed. I don't know how to do this. And you doubt everything, all the decisions you made, all your stock is rubbish, And so, of course, I go through that. It does get easier and you can talk yourself out of that cycle of thought. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Vicious circle. And people suddenly like, eBay's broken. I didn't get a sale all day. eBay must be broken. And then, the next day you might have one of your record sales days. Like, it's, I try and look on mine as like an overall over a month rather than as a daily thing, because otherwise I think it would just do my head in.
Absolutely. That is a really good thing. Look at the whole month. Yeah. And if you want to compare, only compare with yourself and compare months or compare years, because it can be very up and down within a year. But if the whole year you did better than last year, you're still heading somewhere positive, aren't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a good lesson to learn as well. Really is. And not be too harsh on yourself. I beat myself up a lot. I'm much better at it these days. But in the past, I was a proper workaholic with this. When we had the retail outlets and stuff, I was putting in 7-day weeks. I would do 12, 14-hour days, and I loved it to bits, but I worked myself into a stress, So these days,
so how do you find that balance? How do you get that balance back? Like, how do you have a routine now, or you still just, some days you just go, I need a day off, and you just chill a little bit more?
Yeah, I am not very good at finding that balance, and I'm not very good at time management. I was chatting to you before, I'm getting into my stride listing now, and it's 10:30 at night.
I've interrupted.
No, that's
Tommy's
fine.
Tommy's telling me that I've skipped a million questions, and Kent's saying that I'm freestyling. So I apologize. I'm really terrible at trying to have a chat as well as like reading the questions. Well, so yeah, if you've got any more questions, write them again.
I know what it's like, and people who have done one of these chats, you know what it's like. It's not easy, but we can go back and answer questions. That's fine.
I did see somebody ask how many platforms you sell on. So as far as I know, you sell on Amazon and eBay, but primarily eBay.
Yeah, we do both of those. Historically with Amazon, we kind of put all of our money in Christmas related stock, toys, games, that sort of gift stuff. So that comes into play at Christmas. Although Christmas just gone, we didn't really push Amazon. So we didn't earn much on Amazon. You know, you get out what you put in. But Andrea sells on Etsy. I don't think I've even logged into Etsy ever. I don't know how it works, but Andrea sells. It ticks along. We get a handful of sales from that. Andrea also does the clothing apps like Depop, and I don't even know what they're called. Those ones, you know. But for me, it's eBay and Amazon. I mean, Andrea doesn't get involved with Amazon, for example. You know, she does her thing and I do my thing, and that's how our business works. We've been working together as a partnership for nearly 20 years. So we know Andrea has control of this, that, and the other, and I have control. And that's how it works. Notice we have separate offices.
Yeah, I actually think that's a really good idea. I think if you are too closely entwined all the time with like a husband or a wife, like that would do my head in. I like to have my own space. So even with my kids, my daughter's just started her first day of full-time work today, but she's been off for like 3 months. And even one of my other boys, you know, he's in college, so some days he doesn't start school till 11 a.m. and I just constantly feel like I've got no space. Today's the first day where everybody is out of the house and I'm like, oh, hallelujah. I can find my routine again. Tommy's making a joke here about how many eBay complaints did you process as a cop?
None at all. eBay was barely a thing back then. I'm that old, Tommy. We're talking 2001, 2002 when I left. So, yeah.
Liz is asking if you have separate stores on eBay.
We did. We don't anymore. For a while we had that set up, but we couldn't see the benefit of it after a while. So Andrea had all of her clothing and stuff on a separate store, but we were just paying two lots of fees, and within the store you can categorize everything anyway. So we still had the second store as kind of a backup, but everything's on our main store. We don't have masses of stock listed. I probably have as much unlisted stock as listed, if not more. But we've never operated on a huge amount of stock listed. We have quite fast turnover, and that's how we like it. You know, I'm happy when we've got hardly any stock listed, because that means we sold loads, you know.
And so what would the percentage be between like clothes and like all your kind of random hard good type things? Is it like a 50-50 split almost, or?
Again, that varies a lot with how much I'm listing at any given time. But yeah, it's probably about half and half. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I just list stuff and don't really look into it. I list it and then package it up when it sells. That's all I know. Yeah, but it's probably about half and half.
Like you said, you don't really have a like a goal or anything each week. You just list when you can, as much as you can, and some weeks it's less and some weeks it's more. But is Andrea of the same mentality? Like, or does she try and have a goal each week with clothes? Or
I think Andrea has listing goals, the same as I sort of do, but we rarely meet them.
Yeah. There's no pressure.
I just want to put out there, we're in a position financially and in our lives and where we are, that we have put ourselves in a financial position where we don't have to earn as much money as we used to. We, like I said, when we had the retail outlet, we worked crazy hard for a decade and got ourselves in this position. We paid off our mortgage and we have zero debt and we have very little outgoings. So we are trying, if anything, to do less. I find that hard. So we do as much as we need to, really, because we're in a financial position. We worked hard to get here, And I sometimes have to remind myself of that, because I get ambitious again, you know, and I want to do X, Y, and Z, and I want to do all of these things, but we're trying to do less because we don't want to be stressed. We want a better quality of life. And I have to keep reminding myself that we're in this financial position and we got here for a reason.
Yep. And you know, not many people have probably paid off their mortgages, and that's a massive chunk. That's a massive, you know, when you are doing reselling and you have that monthly payment or that weekly payment of a large mortgage, you know, that can be quite stressful. So you're so lucky, well, not lucky because you've worked hard for that, but it's like it's just such a burden taken off you if you don't have to cover the mortgage as well as the bills.
It was huge. Once we made that decision that that's what we were going to do, because we started on eBay. Let's go back to that. Actually, we started on eBay, and we were selling from a rented house, tiny little 2 up, 2 down house with a baby. We'd both quit our jobs, and we were hand to mouth for quite a while. And then the eBay was working for us like crazy, and it took off, and we ended up with a house full of stock and a baby. You know, it was crazy. But both of our backgrounds were retail. And we quickly thought, let's open a shop and we'll run the business from there. And then if people buy stuff in the shop, that's fine. But mainly we're going to use it as a place to house this eBay business, because this house is full of crap and we need to put it somewhere else. And then we started that, and the shop took off. And then we did that for 10 years. And once the shop really started to take off, and if I could just describe what the shop was, it was media. So it was CDs, which were still huge then, DVDs that were still huge then, and gaming, so your PlayStation, your Xbox, and all of that. And people could bring their stuff in and exchange it or sell it to me for cash. So it's one of those places. And it was in the town we live in now, there was nothing like that available. So we filled a void, and it just took off. And we worked, like I say, flat out for nearly 10 years. And once we realized we were making a lot of money, we bought a house and we set ourselves a target to pay it off. And once we achieved that, we came out of retail and came back to this. So that's in a nutshell. It was a bit more complicated than that, but that in a nutshell was our ambition and our aim. And that's, since the YouTube thing started, that's kind of what you see is us after retail. We did briefly go back into retail and set up a clothing store, but it didn't work.
Well, it definitely sounds like you've got that entrepreneurial, you know, side of you that loves to try new things. And I can relate to that, because I feel the same. I've been doing my own businesses for the last 20 years and jumped from one to the other, but this is definitely, I think, my favorite of anything that I've done. So
really,
it's good.
So I know you were into photography and you ran that as a business then?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what other businesses have you ventured into?
Oh, well, my first business that I started, I was hiring out baby equipment. So I ran it from my garage. It was a little franchise that I bought into, and I would hire out baby seats and strollers and high chairs and portable cots and things like that. So, and I would fit the car seats, like the little, you know, when they're a newborn, I would fit them, what are they called? The capsules. So I would fit those in people's cars, and they would hire them for like the first 3 or 6 months before the baby was ready to go to a car seat. And I would hire out high chairs and cots and stuff, but it wasn't bad. But I got sick of cleaning dirty wheels on strollers and sheepskin liners that babies had spewed all over. And so, you know, I stuck with that for a while, and I did that when my daughter was first born. And then where did I go to from that? I opened up a party shop, an online party shop.
Wow.
So I was actually really inspired back then by Kate Middleton's mother. She owns an online party shop in the UK.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's a really big one. And I was just inspired by all the different party goods that you guys kind of had over there. And my kids were growing then, and I just loved holding these big over-the-top birthday parties for them. And that kind of got my creativity going. I could, you know, mix it, match everything and make them perfect.
Yeah.
And
so why did that not last? Why did you come out of that one?
Oh, well, that one probably taught me the most. I had to build all my own websites, and I sold so much online during that time, but I was importing all the stock from America, and it would take 3-4 months to come over on shipment. So it was really hard with stock levels, because somebody might buy a whole heap of cups and then not the plates, and people wanted to buy the whole set. So then I was kind of left with mix and match of stock, and it was hard with stock numbers when I had to wait so long for it to come over.
Yeah.
And then we got lots more dollar stores. Like, I don't know what you call them. We call them the reject shop, and they're cheap, and they were bringing out party ranges.
Poundland and 99p stores where you get the cheap Chinese tap.
That's it. And they were bringing out more and more ranges of party stuff, and the online was just becoming about whoever could sell it for the cheapest. They'd pretty much, if they wanted a Batman theme, they would just Google Batman party stuff, and whoever was the cheapest they would buy it from. So in the end, I just felt like I was working so hard for the most minimal money, and, it was kind of time to let that one go. So then I took over the school's secondhand uniform shop. And I decked out the whole garage. It was a private school, and I decked out my whole garage and opened up this big secondhand uniform shop. And, I ran that for a couple of years.
So you have really got that spirit in you completely. I mean, you've just described a whole range of different businesses, and you just kept going and starting something new. And that's exactly me. I've tried so many things, and I've had failures as well. I always like to point out. I mean, my first record shop was a failure. I tried a magazine rental CD thing. That was a failure. I've had probably more failures than successes. But the point is, with entrepreneurial or trying to be your own boss, you keep going. And like you just said, I learned the most from that one. And when you look back, you see what you learned. And I got everything wrong many, many times. And then eventually, if you're tenacious enough, you find the right business, or you learn from enough mistakes that you go, okay, I've got it now, and you get it right. And when you get it right, as we did with the media store, once you get it right, you just have to go with it and throw everything into it, and that's what we did. But yeah, I love hearing about other people's business ventures. It's fascinating.
Yeah. After the uniform shop, I went on to do the photography for 6 years, family photography. So I learn a lot from that as well. And I learn a lot about SEO and search engine optimization. And I think a lot of it is playing into this kind of stuff now. So I'm actually really quite fascinated in learning about all the analytics and the stats. And I've never done YouTube, but I'm really interested in learning how all that behind the scenes stuff works. And I think that just comes with the nature of, I've built all my own websites in the past, and everything I've set up has been from scratch, and I've had to learn how to do everything. And this is just a new part of that for me. YouTube is just something now that I want to really learn. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to give it my all.
We'll have to have a chat about YouTube. I find I'm not sure I know what I'm doing, but I'm fascinated with the whole subject, and I'm getting there. I think I know what I'm doing now. It's been 6 years nearly.
I think you're doing pretty good, Nic. You've got 40,000 subs or something ridiculous.
We're working it out. I just realised, because I hope at some point you could come onto our channel and have a chat. And I've just asked you all the questions I'd probably ask you if you came on. We'll have to do it all again. You're supposed to be with me.
I do love a chat. Yes, Andrew, I did do party favors. Party favors and for kids, for children. Party favors for children. Far around. Oh, look. Bum crack. I accidentally dropped Mel's channel in Stephen Steph's. Oh, gosh. Thank you, bum crack. Oh, the other thing I wanted to really ask you is I think it's so important in this industry is the importance and the value of the community.
Yeah.
And just to kind of say, like, do you think that you've made closer friendships like with your reselling friends than you've got other friends, or do you have like a pretty good mix?
I would say I socialize more with resellers now than I do normal friends.
Yeah.
Because of social media, Facebook Messenger chats, WhatsApp chats, I talk to several resellers, quite a number on a daily basis now. But for most of the time, well, let's think, yeah, for probably 15 years of doing this, I was doing it in my own bubble with my wife, and we may talk to a few other businesses in town when we've had retail outlets, but for the most part, you're isolated. And I was even more so when we went online, because we didn't have the regulars coming in the shop, and when we went back to online full time, we missed that completely. So YouTube has been a game changer for me. It really has, socially and confidence wise, confidence in what I'm doing, confidence that, what I'm doing has merit and it's interesting and people care, because you rapidly find when you're a reseller, if you go out with your real friends and you talk about what you do and you get passionate about it, they all glaze over and they want to talk about football and other such subjects that I don't care about. So I'm like, now I have my people and I understand why I'm excited about selling car filters and I love pony signs, So yeah, it's been a game changer. It really has. And I would recommend giving it a go, even if you just do a bit of Instagram, or not that I'm very good on Instagram. I don't understand it. YouTube is my thing. But yeah, YouTube has been amazing. And until you try it, you perhaps don't understand, those that haven't, the interaction you get and the pleasure you can get out of it is life-changing. And that's not an exaggeration.
It's very social. It makes you feel social on a daily basis, I think. I think doing YouTube has been one of the best things that I've started, and I just feel like I've grown closer friendships with people by doing YouTube. And I don't know, like, as for you, you've got such a large channel. Like, do you almost find it harder to build like genuine friendships now in the reselling community? Like, are the resellers that you talk to often, have they been around for a long time of your journey? So
I think some of the guys I chat with, I've known since there was a handful of us doing it in the UK, like Zahir, for example. But then, like I said to you, I find that I just gravitate towards people that I can identify with. I don't know how to explain that, but like, I've got to know Rod very well, and you just, I'm drawn to. It doesn't matter if they're new on YouTube like yourself or whatever. I just draw to people that I can see, I recognize myself in, and that I can identify with. It's as simple as that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have genuine friends. We've had a few meetups in the UK. I know you had one recently with Rod and Drew, and Bron, who's in the chat, actually just said hi, I think. And that's been amazing, bringing it really into the real world. And there's another one coming up in Bristol. We're going down to Bristol, and then we'll be planning our Christmas party again at some point.
It's I think the meetups are really important, and yeah, I mean, obviously we're very spread here in Australia, so it's hard to have those meetups. And I've become really close with Bron, so that was just like it was just always going to be that I was going to fly up there and see her at some stage. And it's just so good that Rod and Drew were so close and were able to pop up and see us. But I think it's much easier for me to fly up to see Bron because she's got a small child and my kids are bigger. So it just makes more sense, I think, for me to go there. And she's got better stores than me. So
I'll be honest, because I'm so used to the UK being this diddy little thing. And although we moan about driving to Bristol, it might take us 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, I forget how far apart you guys are. I just assume you can, pop down the road and see each other. But
we have to get on the planes, really. If we were to do a meetup here in Australia, like a really big open meetup for anyone, it would be tricky. I think it would be tricky to even decide on a location that's the most central and cheapest for everyone to get to, because it can be expensive. expensive to have to fly up. And
so where are you in Australia?
I'm in Canberra. I'm in the ACT, which is the capital of Australia.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm about, if I was to drive up to see Bron and Rod and Drew, it would be about 15 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I fly. That's why I flied. Look, Bron's saying that she's got the jacuzzi, and that's the real reason I came. And Andrew wants another meetup in Wrexham. Do you think that do you find that ever, because you have grown into such a big channel? Oh, the light's coming in here now. Do you find that like people only want to be friends with you because you're like this big name now, or anything like that? Do you worry that people are trying to build friendships with you to gain off you?
I guess that's a possibility, but how would you tell, really? I suppose I have a radar for that sort of stuff. I can smell bullshit when I see it, but I've not encountered much of that.
Yeah,
I think there are some people that perhaps try and take shortcuts with YouTube, but it doesn't work because it's all about the audience. And if the audience don't respond to you and want to watch your videos, you won't grow. It's about content and nothing else, really. Of course, these sort of interactions help because it's about awareness. But somebody's only going to subscribe to you and stay watching if they like your content. It's no more complicated than that. So yeah, I don't worry about any of that, really.
and like, I guess like there's so many pros that come with the community, and like this, you make so many friendships and stuff, but there's also like that other side of it that's really quite negative and trolling, and that can be quite discouraging, I guess. Like, how do you deal with you must get trolled. I was in one of your lives the other day, and often I miss your lives because of the time difference, but I was waiting up for this live, and I just couldn't believe that there was like 6 or 8 or something dislikes before you'd even come on live. So like, do you get much hate or much negativity? Or
and the bigger your channel get, and yours will keep growing, you do attract it. And what you have to do, or my advice would be, is you give it the amount of attention it deserves, which is 0. You just don't read out the comments. Don't say the word troll while you're live if they're there. You should have some moderators in, let them deal with it, and don't give them the attention that they're seeking. And they'll soon get bored. They only thrive if you give them the attention and talk about it. I've talked about trolls too much already. There we go, we're done.
We're done. So
they're not worth the headspace. And when our channel started to grow, I got really caught up in that, and I thought I had to respond and I had to defend myself or explain myself to people. It's rubbish. You don't. It's your channel. You do what you like. People don't like it. It's tough.
See you later.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good mentality, and it's probably a lot harder, I think, for when you're new, and the first trolls that you start to get, and the first negativity that you get starts coming your way. It's probably knocks you back a little bit, and you have to think about it a bit more. But I guess it's good that you just can let that go.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that was an easy process, and trolling will affect you, because what they're trying to do is press your buttons. And don't respond, because that's what they're trying to do, and you'll learn that quickly. But it can be difficult to detach yourself from it, because they're trying really hard to say or do something that will get a response. So we've talked about them too much again now. Quick, move on.
Yeah, let's change it. I found a question. So the Cajun reseller is saying reselling is where meeting complete strangers isn't frowned upon. And it is funny, isn't it? Because I was saying this to Bron the other day, like my children, when I went to visit her, my 2 youngest children were like, so you're going to go and stay in a stranger's house? And, we talk about stranger danger with the kids. And here I was like, I'm going to go meet 4 complete randoms. 2 of them are men, and we're going to hang out, and, I'm going to stay in her house with her husband, who I don't know. And you can kind of see from the kids' point of view that might look really strange, but
absolutely. And we've had similar conversations, when I've got to know the likes of Tom or Zahir, and that they've driven to Hitchin, and we've gone out for beers, and then they've stayed here, and you kind of, Ellen will be like, so who's this guy who's staying tonight? It's a bloke Dad met on the internet. What? Yeah, on YouTube. Right? Has he ever met him before? Oh, no, but it's staying in the spare room tonight. And you think through it, it sounds ridiculous. But when you've had a number of these interactions, like live chats, you know,
Yes.
and we might talk for an hour now. That's more time than I'll probably chat to any of my 3 sisters in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
And you quickly form relationships that are meaningful and genuine. You know,
Yes.
so when you do meet, I bet when you went up and met Rod and the others in person, all of the ice was broken. There was nothing to get through because you'd spent enough time either watching them or interacting.
That's right.
So it's
and
natural.
FaceTiming, you know, we FaceTime on the phone, and you know, I'll sometimes talk for 2 hours on the telephone to Rod, you know, just about nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, like we had that friendship, I guess, before it was just like it wasn't just like a reseller meetup. I guess it was like a friendship meetup. And we'd already built that bond, I guess. And, you know, even you and I over the last month, you know, have done a lot of messaging and you know, so it's not like you've just come onto this random chat and said, hey, I'll come on and have a chat with you, Mel. It's like we have actually talked a fair bit over the last month.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of choose to operate. I'll get to know somebody first, and I'll, you know, it's not, a new channel, quick.
Yes.
It's not how we do things.
I need another sub to add to my 40,000.
Dwayne,
so Sherry said,
I was just going to read Dwayne, Mothership Products comment there. You both are welcome to crash at my house anytime. Well, you've said it now, and we are hoping to come back to America at some point. So I'll be knocking.
How do you feel about folks who immediately imitate your style? Do you have to worry about that, Nic? I feel like you'd be hard to imitate.
What, this style? Are you talking about YouTube?
I guess maybe they're talking about imitating your videos or your, I guess, copying, I guess.
With YouTube, there's no new ideas really, or very few. And there have been some obvious ones that have copied something I've done, or even copied something I've said, because it gets in your head, doesn't it? How someone else is saying things, then you hear your little phrases repeated, which is weird. I think you just have to take it as flattery, really. Yeah. You know, I've done lots of videos that are inspired by the likes of Lonnie or Craigslist Hunter or someone else, but as long as you're being truthful and honest to who you are and what you're doing, it doesn't matter where you're inspired from, does it? It's still you doing it your way. So yeah, I'm happy.
So talking about that, who inspires you the most?
With YouTube again?
Yeah, or just even in life, like who's inspiring you?
That's a very good question. Who is inspiring me right now? I watch this will sound random. I watch a few skateboarding channels. I was a skateboarder back in the 80s, and I watch a guy called Johnny Geiger. And to say he is tenacious and never gives up is an understatement. And I get so much inspiration from watching him. There's a famous skateboarder called Rodney Mullen, who is perhaps the greatest skateboarder of all time. He was doing tricks in the 80s that people still can't replicate now. And this guy is trying to be the first person to ever replicate what Rodney was doing, sometimes decades ago. And his videos, he might try a trick for not only a day, it might be 2, 3, 4 days. And he makes these videos, and I just find that inspiring, that somebody who doesn't give up.
It's a good trait to have, isn't it? Like watching somebody who's motivated, hardworking, and goes after what they want. Yeah,
and I think people watching this, who obviously they're watching this because they're interested in business or reselling or something, and being knocked down is something you need to expect. The ability to pick yourself up and say, I'm going to do this anyway, even though I just failed miserably, is the one trait that all successful business people have. And if you go and speak to any successful businessman, ask them how many times they've failed. I could tell you about a lot.
So Tommy's saying it always amazes him how down-to-earth people are. And the people we look up into the beginning, like Zahir and Nic, are the most down-to-earth people in his real life friend, more than his real life friends. So I think that's a compliment coming your way there, Nic.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. That means a lot. You know, I love that.
And the nurse Flipper's saying it's weird that some of the people she watches a lot, even if she doesn't chat with, she feels like she knows them, especially those ones that post every day. Yeah, I think you do start to feel like you know someone just by watching them or joining in their chat. Even if you haven't had any other interaction with them, like a phone call or a private message or anything, you start to feel like you know this person, like they're your friend. I'm going to my friend's chat.
Well, like I said, we spend so much time with that person, even if we're just passively watching or listening. These hours add up, and we're spending more time with these distant people that we watch than we're spending with our close family quite often. And people do get invested in you. And I remember when we lost Monty, our dog, so many people were watching the video when we announced it, crying and all of this, and it was just so powerful, you know. I'll never forget that.
It's definitely
I got to talk about that. I nearly set myself off again.
It's I definitely just think, you know, this community of people you know, is so good, and it's just so nice to meet other people that we can click with and have conversations with. And you know, I'm a bit like you. I feel like you with your family and friends not understanding the reselling. You know, I have that a little bit with my husband. He doesn't really understand it. He doesn't really want to talk about it. All he kind of sees is the stock building up, and you know, it can be hard to, you know, I really value having this online community to talk about it with, because otherwise I probably can't really talk about it at home. You know, the kids don't ask a lot of questions. They just think that I'm a little bit random, you know.
It's so powerful, because as human beings, we are social creatures. And if one of the biggest things in your life, which is our business, that we have to have so much time and passion invested in, if you don't have a social outlet to talk about what gets your juices flowing, you're just lost. And it's been amazing for me to find this tribe of like-minded crazy people, you know. It's great.
I think Andrew was saying here that nobody wanted to copy his channel, but Michelle is saying that Andrew's inspired other people to use their channels to talk about mental health. And I do think that's true. I think Andrew has opened up a world of mental health by, you know, being very open about his own struggles, and he has attracted a lot of people who've got their own mental health issues and want to share that too.
Well, I'd like to touch on that, and I think he is incredibly good at talking about it. You know, I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but when he talks about that, you know, it's sincere and it means a lot. I struggled for years talking about my battles with it. I went on Margaret Texas Gal Treasure's channel, must be 3 or 4 years ago now, and that was the first time I'd openly talked about my struggles anywhere. And because Margaret opened herself up and was brutally honest about her struggles, still is, I was so inspired by that. Talking about people that inspire you, going back to that, Margaret, I don't know if you watch her channel or if you know her.
No.
She was so inspirational, being open and honest about the battles she struggled with on a daily basis, that I went on and chatted about it. And I since went on and talked with Edward or Walter O'Neill, Antiques Arena. I don't know if you know him.
I've seen him on Rod's channel.
Yeah. And I chatted with him, and he shared his struggle with depression, which is still ongoing. And I shared my struggle, which in the main is in my past, but I don't think you ever truly get over it. So yeah, hats off to you, Andrew, for talking about it. It's important.
Yep. And so what year did you suffer from that, Nic? Was it before your reselling days, or?
From about the age of 15 to mid to late 20s.
Okay.
At its worst, I didn't think I was going to come out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in this community that have been in that position, and it's just nice to know that there's others who've been through the same and can support you if you need it. And, you know, I definitely think, yeah, like you said, Andrew's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone understands him. You know, he probably gets trolled more than anyone, except for maybe Tommy. But, you know, I think there's so many layers there. And once you get to know it, like, you know, you feel very lucky to have someone like that in your corner.
And reselling, I think you'll find within our little community, there are a lot of people like me, and I totally fit what I'm about to describe, is people who, a lot of my battles and stresses were created by the real world, about trying to fit into a role, trying to fit into a job, pressure, stress, all of those things were all the triggers for depression and the problems I had. And reselling was my way out. That's how I described it back when we were talking about getting into reselling. It was my way out. It was my sanity. And I think reselling is kind of this place where a lot of us broken people end up finding our happiness. And it's not a coincidence that a lot of us have mental health battles. And we found our way to create our own little world. That we can control and be happy in. That's certainly how it works for me.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's amazing. So, does anyone else have any questions? Because I am conscious that we've been on for an hour, and I know Nic has to do some listing. I don't want to chew up all his time, but
I will be up till about 3 a.m. It's fine.
Derek will be sitting here rubbing his hands. What's going on with my light?
I don't know.
It's just that it's very cloudy here today, so it's in and out with the natural light. So, yeah. Oh, Kent wants. Do you drink Corona? Beer.
I have done. I'm not avoiding it. Apparently, some people are, because it has the same name. Could you highlight Frankie's Fines comment? I think that's a really beautiful comment.
I would like to say that I've realised that what I thought were my defects turn out to be something I share with many of you, thanks to Andrew and Nic for being open about their issues. Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's why it's important to talk about it. I didn't for so many years, and it was part of the problem, not talking about it. So, yeah. Yeah, it's still not easy to talk about, but that's why I admire Andrew for being so open about everything, because I can't be like that.
And did you meet Andrea? Well, like, I kind of get the impression that you two were like high school sweethearts or something. You've kind of got this really beautiful relationship where you're like best friends, and it's just such a comfortable looking relationship to watch. But like, were you high school sweethearts? Was she with you when you went through your hard times?
No, I had come out of the other end of it and was, you know, heading off to somewhere better. She was in the middle of it, and I could identify with that. And I think that's what brought us together. And we've both been kind of working our way out of it ever since. So it's the common ground, I think, that formed the bond. Was we were struggling people, you know. So yeah, but no, we were in our mid-20s.
Where did you meet her? Was it through somebody else, or?
No, when I got a job in a record shop, we met in a record shop. It was my local, so all of the members there was 5 or 6 staff in this record shop. They were called Our Price Records, soon to be bought out by Virgin, and they all knew me because I still am a complete music addict, and I was in there every week, so they all knew me. So I knew her face, didn't know her name, and then when I went for a job there, I already knew the manager, and I was kind of a shoe-in for this job. They had to give me an interview, but he said at the end of the interview, "I'm interviewing other people, Nic, but you've got the job," because they all knew me and they knew that I was passionate about music. And then, of course, I got to know Andrea, and we got together on my birthday in 1997.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. It was meant to be.
Maybe.
Tommy Do you think that the reason people turn to reselling is because of these issues and difficulties dealing with the normal things that a job expects of employees?
In many cases, yes. That sums up a lot of the reasons I ended up taking my own path. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think it can be more complex than that, but yeah, I think there's a common thread with a lot of us.
Yep. I don't know what this means. Nic is audiophile. I don't know what that is.
Being into music, basically.
Oh, okay.
I don't have decent audio equipment. Zahir would hate my setup here. I've got a really cheap record player hooked up to a fairly average stereo. So I'm not an audiophile in that way, but I love my records. And I regret selling off all my vinyl, so I'm now buying it back.
And what type of music do you listen to music while you're listing and stuff? Like, does that motivate you? Like when you're maybe in a bit of a low or feeling unproductive, if you put on music, will it motivate you?
I guess so. I listen to music all day long if I'm not watching a YouTube video. Yeah. And most of the time I'm on YouTube, I'm watching either music videos or interviews with bands.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if music gets me going. Some of my taste in music isn't the most upbeat stuff. So sometimes, you know, but yeah, I find it hard to work in silence, put it that way.
People say that to me all the time because I love country music, and everyone's like, country music, all it is depressing songs about or drinking beer, or maybe that's why I like beer so much. But everybody's always like, oh, that's, especially Rod, he's like, oh, Mel, that's the most depressing music. But it's not for me, because country music tells a story, and
well, I love
the story.
It's real, isn't it? You know, that's why I love, you know, likes of Radiohead or Depeche Mode, not the pop stuff, the early stuff, the later stuff. And it's just real. People talking about real life. Yeah, I get off on that.
Joni's saying she loves country music too. And yes, I am a Keith Urban fan. And Bron's saying we like the songs that we can cry to. Yeah, I love the songs that just give me all the feels, and whether or not that's a sad song or a happy song or a love song or whatever it is, at different times in my life, I need different types of music. So, yeah. Can you see any questions I've missed?
I was just going to read, Seb says, have you listened to Yeba in My Mind? I don't think so. I'll look
He's going to write it down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeba in My Mind. Is that a band or a song?
Don't know. I'll find out. Yeah, but I love the pop stuff as well. My go-to are Erasure and Pet Shop Boys for I sing along to that sort of stuff in here at the top of my voice. And Andrea will walk in. Of course, I won't hear the door go, and she'll be stood right next to me, behind me, and she'll freak the hell out of me because I'm stood here photographing or listening, and then I'll turn around and she'll just be there listening to me sing. Yeah. I
think we need a video of Nic singing, like at the top of his voice. I think that one would go viral.
That's never happening.
Tommy listens to Dave Matthews on repeat, and it was funny because when I went to Queensland, he'd been telling me about Dave Matthews, and so I'd been checking them out. And when I was in the plane, one of the Dave Matthews songs that he likes was playing, and then the plane took off and I went into no Wi-Fi mode, and that song played on repeat for the whole time I was in the air for an hour and a half. And I'm sure Tommy thought that was hilarious. But, I don't like flying, so I couldn't take the music off because I had no Wi-Fi to listen to anything else. So I just kind of had to close my eyes and just listen to this song like on repeat. For literally an hour and a half.
I remember a flight once. I think we were going to Turkey, and for whatever reason, the only track I had on my phone, or I think we might have had a new iPad or something, for whatever reason, the only track I could listen to was Sia's Chandelier, which is an amazing song, but I listened to it for about 2 hours, And if I hear it anywhere now, I am sat in an airplane looking out of the window. I'm instantly back in that moment.
Yep. I think that will be the same for me as well with that particular song.
Yeah.
So especially since the main lyric of that song was crash. And I was like in this plane going, please don't crash. Even though it was a totally different context, it was just this word crash was going through my head for the whole plane flight.
That's not what you want to hear, is it, really?
No. Yeah. But anyway, there you go. Country music is generally cry and your beer music to me. Well, I do like a good cry and I do like a good beer. So anyway. But no, we might finish it up and I might let you go and get some listing done so Derek doesn't overtake you.
Yeah.
Yes. But I do really want to say thank you so much and, really appreciate you giving up your time to come and talk to me and just hang out and get to know you better. And, it's been awesome. I think we've had a good chat.
Yeah. No, it
flew by. Still got 70. We've still got 70 in here. So that's just crazy for my little channel.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no,
so
it's been a pleasure. And at some point, we'll invite you on and you can come and have a chat. Perhaps get Andrew in with us as well and you can share your story again.
That'd be great. But yeah, and thanks to everyone in the chat and everyone who's been moderating there. And I can see Bumcrack's been putting in a whole heap of links. So thank you for that. But yeah, just thank you to, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go. Bye, guys.